弟兄姐妹，早上平安！今天是教会所定的双亲主日，我们谨奉圣父、圣子、圣灵的名，开始今天早上的崇拜聚会。请听上帝的话，如此宣告说：耶和华是我的亮光，是我的拯救，我还怕谁呢？耶和华是我性命的保障，我还惧谁呢？有一件事我曾求耶和华，我仍要寻求，就是一生一世住在耶和华的殿中，瞻仰他的荣美，在他的殿里求问。耶和华啊，求你将你的道指教我，因我的仇敌的缘故，引导我走平坦的路。要等候耶和华，当壮胆坚固你的心。我再说，要等候耶和华。今天让我们由周明海执事来带领我们以下唱诗赞美上帝的时间。
神在，神在，神在，神在，全能上帝，全能的天父，在你面前清晰吐意，表明我们深爱你。神在，神在，神在，神在，慈悲天父，慈悲天父，我们欢喜做你的儿女，在你面前清晰吐意，表明我们深爱你。慈悲天父，慈悲天父，宝贵耶稣，宝贵耶稣，我们欢喜得你的救赎，在你面前清晰吐意，表明我们深爱你。宝贵耶稣，宝贵耶稣，纯洁生命，纯洁生命，求你重新充满我心灵，在你面前清晰吐意，表明我们深爱你。纯洁生命，纯洁生命。
这时，让我们来到上帝的面前来祷告。天父上帝，我们永活的主宰，我们的磐石，我们的一切。我们今天要在列国中，在圣殿中称赞你，歌颂你的名，因你的慈爱高及诸天，你的信实上达穹苍。主啊，您是那高高在上、完美无瑕的上帝，我们不敢带着罪来朝见你，所以再次求您以你的宝血来接近我们，以致我们能够来敬拜你，蒙你的喜悦。愿主您悦纳我们今天的敬拜，让我们不单来这敬拜你，不单来彰显你的荣耀，也让我们看见你的荣耀。愿今天在聚会中，向您开口向我们说话。父啊，若您有什么吩咐， 我们众子女的都当静听，遵行你的旨意。天父上帝，今天是双亲主日，我们再次的为着我们家里的父母子女来祷告，我们把他们献在你的面前，愿主您祝福他们，恩待他们，不管是在家里养老的父母，还是在忙碌工作为着学业打拼的子女，愿这一切都蒙受主您的看顾与保守。愿主您再次透过双亲主日来帮助我们，来提醒我们，来帮助我们的家庭。愿主您再次使用今天早上的聚会来塑造我们的家，来改变我们的家，以致主啊，我们能够活出你的心意，过蒙你喜悦的家庭生活。我们如此献上我们的祷告，是奉靠主耶稣基督得胜的尊名而求的。阿们。这时，让我们一同来背诵主祷文。我们在天上的父，愿人都尊父的名为圣。愿父的国降临，愿父的旨意行在地上，如同行在天上。我们日用的饮食，今日赐给我们，免我们的债，如同我们免了人的债，不叫我们遇见试探，救我们脱离凶恶。因为国度、权柄、荣耀，全是父的，直到永远。阿们。这时，让我们一同来恭受上帝的话。今天所要看的经文是取自以弗所书第5章22节到6章第4节。以弗所书第5章22到6章4节，请听我来念这一段的经文。你们做妻子的，当顺服自己的丈夫，如同顺服主。因为丈夫是妻子的头，如同基督是教会的头，他又是教会全体的救主。教会怎样顺服基督，妻子也要怎样凡事顺服丈夫。你们做丈夫的，要爱你们的妻子，正如基督爱教会，为教会舍己。要用水借着道把教会洗净，成为圣洁，可以献给自己，做个荣耀的教会，毫无玷污、皱纹等类的病，乃是圣洁没有瑕疵的。丈夫也当照样爱妻子，如同爱自己的身子。爱妻子便是爱自己了。从来没有人恨恶自己的身子，总是保养顾惜，正像基督待教会一样。因我们是他身上的肢体，为了这缘故，人要离开父母，与妻子联合，二人成为一体。这是极大的奥秘，但我是指着基督和教会说的。然而你们个人都当爱妻子，如同爱自己一样。妻子也当尊重她的丈夫。你们做儿女的，要在主里听从父母，这是理所当然的。要孝敬父母，使你得福，在世长寿，这是第一条带应许的诫命。你们做父亲的，不要惹儿女的气，要照着主的教训和警戒教育他们。圣经读到此，愿上帝祝福领受他话语的人。
Reverend Dr. David Zhuang, in his book, published in 2017, 21st Century Spiritual Leadership, he mentioned that in the coming decades, the greatest challenge of the church is the family problems. It will be the biggest ministry challenge as well. Brothers and sisters, you can reflect in the past, in the 80s or even before. In society, if you want to know of someone who's divorced, it's very few. Especially so in church, we can't really find anyone who's divorced. However, in today's society, it seems like divorce has become a norm. And today, more and more families are facing problems, dysfunctional family, and even the Christians as well. We see and experience and meet many Christians who are divorced. We also know that many parents and children are not having good relationships with each other. In this society, the situation, there are increasing family problems. And this is an issue that not just layperson face, even elders, deacons, and pastors are also facing such problems. In my experience as a pastor, the thing that caused me to be more worried about is to help families with their problems. Why do I say so? Because when we want to handle certain issues in a family, the things that we need to deal with is not just one problem, but one series of complicated problems. Just like this saying, we are opening a can of worms. Where we have to face and deal with family issues, we seem to be opening a can of worms. The problems are numerous, and the problems come one after another. Every family problem is connected, so it's impossible for us to just deal with one. Family problems are like a hot potato. We do not want to hold it, but we have to hold it. We have to tackle it. So family problems, we need to view it seriously and handle them, because family is the basic unit of the church and society. If we don't deal with it properly, it will snowball. Initially small, but it will become bigger and bigger and bring a lot of destructive consequences, and affecting innocent, the society and church will also be affected. Thus, in church, we cannot be like an ostrich and hide our heads and pretend like we didn't see the problem and everything's well. We need to view it seriously and solve it. Today, Christian marriages face problems. I believe that the cause is because people are unwilling to obey the teachings of the Bible. Many families, including Christian ones, they focus on self-centered self-satisfaction. This attitude that comes only from one's perspective will not help in the family life. Because of this, it causes many hatred, many negative emotions. So this causes a lot of conflicts in the family. In such a situation, how can a family be stable and harmonious? So today, we need to go back to the Bible to think about what God, who has instituted marriage and also family, this architect, how does God teach us? We need to use His perspective to handle our issues in family, and that is the right thing to do. Next, we cannot be affected by egalitarian views in society and think that the Bible is outdated, that the teachings of the Bible is useless. But conversely, the Bible is unchanging in terms of relationship between man and woman, but also brings us principles that help us to raise the quality of our family life. Let us learn together. Let us learn how to build a family that is complete, a view of family that is good, and have a harmonious family life. Today, the theme of the sermon is Rethinking the Family Life in the 21st Century. Today, let's rethink how can we live out our faith in our family life in this century. So today, whether you're married, single, no matter what age group you're from, whether you're elderly, you're the young ones, this passage is helpful to us to enhance our family life. So today, let us look at Ephesians Chapter 5, verse 22 to Chapter 6, verse 4. Just now we have already read this passage, so we will not repeat it again, but I will just bring out certain verses so that we can look at the verses and see the points in it. Today, The sermon is split into two main points, the relationship in the family and the responsibilities in the family. And there are two minor points within these two main points. So first, let us look at the relationships in the family. And the first point is the husband-wife relationship. And the passage is found in Ephesians Chapter 5, verses 22 to 33. Brothers and sisters, have you realized that this passage is a passage that we always read during weddings? But, interestingly, how many Christian couples are willing to continue following these teachings of Paul to live out the life in their family? Here, Paul believes that a Christian couple who's led by the Spirit need to know their own roles and responsibilities, and also to think from another person's perspective and not to force their own rights in order to build a orderly and harmonious family life. Paul uses the relationship of Christ and church to explain that husbands and wives also need to maintain this close relationship with each other, this harmonious and intimate relationship. In other words, husband and wife is one, just like Christ and church is one whole, one body. But Paul believes that the secret to maintain this relationship is a selfless kind of love. With this kind of love, the husbands will be able to care for the wives, and wives, because of the love for the husbands, is willing to submit to the husbands. So, in the family itself, there will not be any fight for power. So let us pay attention to chapter 5 verse 25. It says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Paul taught the husbands to give himself up to love the wife, just like Christ's perfect example. So what does give himself up for her means? Give himself up means to put down yourself, including your male chauvinistic view of thinking that you are always right. This male chauvinism may be brought about by your family background, maybe because of the culture you were in, maybe the national background that caused you to have this way of thinking, this way of living. But brothers and sisters, I want to remind all of us, especially the brothers, you cannot just say that the past culture, the past people are like that, so right now I have all the rights to live such a life of male chauvinistic life. Remember that the Bible is above culture, truth is above culture. So as Christians, we need to obey the truth as priority and not culture. So when culture is in conflict with the truth, we need to follow the truth rather than the culture. So Paul taught the men not to be male chauvinistic. We will not control the wives, but rather to be willing to sacrifice for the wives. For example, after work, we'll go back to our house, we'll go home early to help the wife with the household chores, or even to take care of the children. And as the head of the family, what does it mean? It means to be a servant, just like Christ. Jesus Christ is God, but he actually humbled himself and take on the image of a servant. He came to the world to serve and not be served. So since we need to obey and imitate Christ, we need to imitate how Christ served his family. We need to imitate this incarnate Christ to serve our family members, unless you are saying that I'm bigger than Jesus. If not, if you want to be the head of the family, then you need to learn to be the servant to serve your family members. Not only that, to give yourself up for your wife, the Bible also talks about nourishes and cherishes. And verse 29 says, "For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church." The husband needs to be polite, respectful, and considerate to the wife, to forgive the mistakes of the wife, to love the wife faithfully, and to take note of their emotions, because ladies are usually more focused on their emotions. They tend to have more fluctuations in emotions, so the husbands need to respect and help to balance her emotions. So husbands are the guide of their wives' emotions. They need to do their best to utilize the trait of manhood, which is being more rational, to serve your wife, to be the shield of her emotions. And as wives, do not gloat about it and think that the Bible only expects husbands and not expect anything of the wife. So that you have the right to have the princess syndrome. So this princess syndrome may be from your culture, your nation, and this cause your personality or the way you live will be in a certain way. You cannot say that other people live like that, so now I can have the right to live in such a way of princess syndrome. Let me emphasize that truth is above culture. So Christians need to obey the truth as priority and not culture. Therefore, chapter 5 verse 22, Paul says, "Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord." So for the wives, we need to love the Lord and use it to love our husband. So submission doesn't mean that it's not about not having our own views or thoughts. So the original language of submit is to put yourself below your husband. What it means is the role of a supporter, to submit as a supporter. Just like how in a building, there is a certain foundation that supports the whole structure. Also, submission doesn't mean that the ladies cannot be independent. But please remember, you also need to remember that God's initial purpose role for women is to help the men. Thus, in order to achieve this purpose, the wife also needs to sacrifice herself in every matter to really submit to the husband, to help the husband, so that the husband can become a better husband and a better man. Also, the Bible also told us in verse 33, "However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband." The wife need to respect the husband. The wife need to learn to boost the confidence of the husband, so that the husband has the ability to face the stress and challenges in the world. The wife, you are the nanny, doctor, teacher of your children, but at the same time, you also need to help your husbands to be able to focus on his work so that he can support the family. Wives, you are a trustworthy critic, guide, and advisor of your husband. But please take note, wives. What do you need to take note of? If your character is a bit tougher, please keep in mind that you need to use a respectful tone to communicate with your husband. Do not nag. And because of when you do that, your husbands will follow your suggestions. And when you're able to put forth your views gently, your husbands will love you more, and you are able to win his love. Do not think that since the husband is the head of the family, so you need to be the neck of the head. So you have the power to control the movement of the head, the movement of your husband, how he should turn. So if you're the head, I am the neck, I'll control everything. Ladies, please don't be like that. What God has created you to do is to be the glorious crown on your husband's head. So don't take the lowly position to be just the neck. So when you love your husbands will be proud of you, and you will be the glorious crown on his head. So when both parties obey God's teaching, I believe it will be a beautiful union. So the problems in family is not because of who is bigger or who is more powerful, but when both are able to love and think of the other person, when both parties are able to commit to each other, there will not be power struggle. When both parties are willing to sacrifice themselves for the family, it will be blissful. So those who submit to God in the family, then only will the family be harmonious. Those who are willing to give up of their own rights and love with God's love, then will there be blessings from God in this family. And only then will there be a happy and blissful family life. Just now we have already looked at the husband-wife relationship. Now we will look at the second point, the parent-child relationship. This is found in Ephesians Chapter 6, verse 1 to 4. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise that it may go well with you and that you may live long in the land. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them out in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Paul, right here in this passage, reminds the parents and children to be responsible for each other in love. So in all cultures, filial piety, this teaching of filial piety is thought to be a foundation of stable society. In Chinese culture, we really focus on filial piety. Just like the saying goes, filial piety is the most important of all virtues. So this culture is in line with the teachings of the truth, so we should follow it. Paul believes that a child who is led by the Spirit will honor and respect the parents. And he thinks that that's a very normal and healthy life. So in 2 Timothy, Paul also said in chapter 3, verse 1 to 5, that those who reject, who refuse to respect and honor their parents are evil, and it is a sign of the last ages. So honoring our parents is God's will, because God has included this in the 10 commandments to honor our parents. So if a Christian do not know how to honor their parents, it is really going against God's commandment. It is sinning. So it is a very serious problem. As children, I really know that you have your own struggles, you have your own pains. You really want to obey the teachings of the Bible, but the environment is harsh. Your parents may or may not be Christians, but no matter what background, you may always think that they are not that educated, they have a lot of generation gaps with you, they don't understand you, it's very hard for you to submit to them. Isn't it? I understand, but children and parents, let's flip it around and think about it. Right now, if we think about it from the parents' view, it's also equally hard to be a parent in today's society. Why? Because today's parents, they might be unable to chase the change that is prevalent in today's era. You don't know the problems of your children. You don't know how to communicate with your children, even though you may see them every day, but you don't know what is on their heart, and you feel very helpless. But brothers and sisters, no matter whether you're children or parents, do not give up and do not be disappointed. Parents and children, when both sides are willing to look upon the Lord, to wait upon the Lord, I believe God is able to give us the ability to break through all these family issues. We need to learn to be patient. We need to learn to submit to each other, to live out God's teaching. So no matter whether you are a parent or a child, you need to learn to turn our stubborn attitudes or way of thinking. And when we do so, even though there are many challenges, things will slowly improve. And God will definitely lead us into this new road. Just now, we have looked at the first main point regarding husband-wife relationship and parent-child relationship. Right now, let us look at the second point, the responsibilities in the family. Similarly, there are two subpoints. The first subpoint, children's responsibility to their parents. And the passage is found in chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. Just now we have already read it, so let's look at it and see what teachings it gives us. So today there are two main points. First is to obey. Two is to honor. So this is what Paul thinks that the relationship between children and parents is a secret to a good relationship. So it seems very tough to do that, but there are many wisdom in it. First, to obey the parents has to do with this principle, the order. So in Chinese tradition, it emphasizes respect for seniority. So this concept is also in line with the Bible. When we obey someone, it is because of their authority. Since parents give birth to me, no matter what, this parent is before me and naturally become my senior, be my authority, so I need to respect and obey them, no matter what country, what culture, what time. After such a long human history, this respect for seniority has been there. And for those in authority, we need to respect, just like the kings, the officials, the teachers. So when we meet people in authority, we need to respect and obey them. So the parents will have more experiences than us, and God gave them this authority to discipline the children, and this in itself is the authority, and we need to obey. So Paul mentioned, for this is right. So there is no need to argue, and there is no need to question it, because it is truth and it is very reasonable. Therefore, this teaching of obeying parents, it is a moral responsibility, even if the children is already old, mature, or even very old. Just as long as your parents are alive, this moral responsibility, this principle is there. It's a responsibility. So to follow this, there are benefits, unless the parents are strange because they ask you to do things that is not natural, ask you to do something that is against the law or against the Bible, then you can resist. In those situations, then you do not need to use your emotions to obey and honor them. Otherwise, usually for children, your body, your mind, your emotions, before you are mature, what your parents teach and instruct you, it is a safeguard for you. Thus, the children need to obey the parents, and this only bring about benefits. So there's this saying, you will suffer losses if you do not heed the advice of the older ones. So this saying came from the human experiences. And we see that many young people actually learn wrong things a lot of times because they refuse to listen to the teachings of their parents. If we are willing to accept our parents' teaching, we will not become people who are useless. So we also need to see whether the parents know how to teach. Many parents are just focused on their career to earn money and have no time to educate and nurture their children, or even give up this role and give this role of nurturing and educating their child to their school teacher, Sunday school teacher, their grandparents, maid, pastors. And it's because of this that caused the young people, more and more people become at risk use, drug addicts, or even join gangs. And this is a very pathetic and sad truth. And conversely, as a child, even though you may become an adult already, if your parents are still around, you need to respect them and using your achievements to honor them, provide for them, and through your love and care, so that they will be comforted even when in their old age. And all the more, we need to give them the upkeep to provide for them. So parents give birth to us, nurture and discipline us, and gave themselves for us. So in today's society, when financial situation is not that ideal, they may have a lot of stress economically, and this may be the one of the causes of family problems. So in today's society, there are great demands on money. So many parents need to work and do overtime in order to have enough to support the family. And because of this, when they have to spend more time at work, their time with the children, the time to communicate with their children has decreased. And if the parents go back home after work is unwilling to give time to communicate with their children, then there will be problems in communication. Therefore, right now, I want to talk to the children. I'm giving you a suggestion. Since you know that your parents may have this situation, this challenge of providing for the family, can we take the initiative to do some adjustments? For example, when your parents reach home, we will put down our revision, our computer games, and find time to talk to them. And you also need to be understanding. You need to play your part. You need to be responsible for your family, to be clean, to take care of your homework so your parents will not nag at you. And at times, also do some small little favors for your parents. Today is Mother's Day. So on this special occasion, we do some small favors for them so that they can feel our love, our submission for them. And then this relationship of both parties will be better. And this way, our family life will be more harmonious. Other than this, just now we have looked at we see the children's responsibility to the parents. We also need to see the other area, which is the parents' responsibility to their children. This is found in verse 4, chapter 6. It says, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." Paul not just reminded children to obey and honor the parents, but also instructed the parents to do their role well. So in order to have submissive children, you need to have submissive parents. Just like this saying, it says, when the authority is kind and merciful, the followers will honor them. So when the parents are merciful and kind, then the children will obey them. So Paul tells us the key to this, to be good parents, which is to instruct them and discipline them in the instruction of the Lord and not to provoke them to anger. So what does it mean to bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord? It doesn't mean that you use the Bible to hit your children, or every single time you talk to your children, you will have to quote Bible verses. What Paul is trying to tell us here is two different layers of meaning. First is to emphasize the instruction of the Lord, the biblical principles to teach and discipline the child. To use God's word to teach and use your action to help the child. So it is really to discipline, to give wisdom to the child. So it's through your words and actions to reprove wrong actions, to correct them. But effective discipline needs to be balanced. It cannot be to the extreme. We need to scold the child, but we also need to encourage them. Yes, we need to cane them at times, but we also need to comfort them. So personally, I don't accept the Western ideas or philosophies, the love education that doesn't scold or cane. But we also, as Chinese, need to take note. The Chinese tend to be overly harsh in their scoldings and beatings. So this has caused children to suffer too much hurts and suppression. And this caused the personality or even mental well-being of the child to be unable to grow holistically, and this may even cause something called childhood trauma. On the other hand, today's people are so self-centered. They want to express themselves. They fight for their own rights. So they ignore discipline and correction. That's why today we see many children, even when they are very young, they are like wild horses. So the biblical principle of discipline is not to neglect discipline and reproof, but also at the same time to respect your child, to interact them with respect. And this is what Paul meant in the passage when he said, "Do not provoke your children to anger," is to tell the parents that the child has their own unique personality and you need to respect them. You cannot be extreme in your dealing with them. It means that your child has their human rights, and we cannot just insult and verbally abuse them. We need to respect them. We need to learn to enter their lives, to enter their hearts, and to express our love, our care to them, and to give them a sense of security so that they can grow in an environment of security. And only in this kind of environment will they be able to grow in a balanced way. But parents, please take note. Don't give your children everything, and yet you fail to give yourself to them. Next, the passage also tells us to bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Here is talking about the spiritual values to teach and educate your children with these spiritual values, so that you can go against the idea of materialism in today's world. So in today's world, where scientific, financial developments will cause society to become richer, so young people nowadays are able to enjoy more compared to other times, and it's easy for them to be immersed in materialistic enjoyment. So parents need to use correct values to teach them, to increase their discernment spiritually, their spiritual discernment, so that they will not fall and indulge in materialism and to focus so much on indulgence. Of course, when we teach and discipline them, we need to be tactful. We will need to plead with them tactfully and not use vulgarities or harsh words. We need to be tactful in our words, in our use of words, to teach them to not use their resources on things that are not important, or games, toys. So a wise parents are able to give the children a way of learning to read different materials, especially spiritual books, so that they will have good spiritual values. So parents themselves need to have the correct view of the material world. If not, it's hard to be an example to your children. On the other hand, today's society changed really quickly. So for the parents to really catch up with all the trends, they may not know how to communicate with their children. So it's when we discipline our children, when we teach our children, we need to spend effort, be diligent, and be patient. Only then can we build up this good relationship with our children. Some parents use a lot of time on their pets, on their plants, on entertainment, on handphones, and they view all this more important than nurturing their children. This is absurd. If you are such a parent, you need to reflect, you need to repent. Your time, where do you spend it on? That is where your achievement is in. To build a relationship, you need to use time to build it up. It is not, you cannot expect to use money to replace time. So your relationship is focused on the quality and not quantity. And this relationship cannot be replaced by material goods. It needs your time and your effort. Today, to end, I will use a real case study. I'll share with all of you this case study, which I have heard from my teacher. It is a true situation. So there's this young person, this child, and his mom passed away when he's very young. And the father is a very successful businessman, but because of the death of the wife, he didn't know how to discipline and teach the child. But he wanted to earn a lot and be respectable in his work. So when the wife passed away, this father spent a lot of time on his career, and the child was nurtured instead by the maid, the helper. So at 18 years old, when the child had the driving license, because the father is rich, in order to compensate the hurt that the child faced of not having a mom, and no time to spend with him, so the father spent a lot of money to buy a car for this son. And when the son was 21 years old, so the father bought another bungalow besides his own bungalow for the child. So in the original bungalow, in such a big house, only 3 people were staying there. But yet, the father continued to use money to compensate the child and bought another house for the child just next door. But because the house is so big, only 1 or 2 people stay in it. And after a few years later, when the child was 25 years old, because the child broke the law, he was in the police station. The father needed to go to the police station to bail the child out. And the father felt very humiliated. Why did the child did so? So this father slapped the child. Do you know what the child said? The child said, "I waited this slap. I waited for your discipline for 20 years." So this child really wanted and yearned the father to discipline and to teach and help him, and not to give him all this car, bungalows. What he really wanted is the heart of the father, the discipline of the father. Brothers and sisters, today is Parents' Day. May this message today, may this passage remind us to know how to use our time so that we can use our heart and effort to really relate to our child, our family, our parents, so that we are willing to pay the price of our time, our effort, and also to obey God's word. When we do so, I believe God is willing to change and improve our family. May this sharing help us to rethink once again in this 21st century, how do we live out a healthy and good and blissful family life.
祷告，天父上帝，我们今天来到你面前的时候，恳求天父您再次用这一段的经文来帮助和提醒我们。虽然我们常看这段的经文，但是主啊，我们有多少人愿意活出这份有关 坚经的教导的真理，在我们的家庭、婚姻的生活当中。愿主您再次的让我们反省，重新的思考，我们当如何的在这个世代活出你喜悦的家庭生活。愿主您加添我们力量，若家里生活有张力、有困难的，愿主您帮助我们，愿你的圣灵软化一切的困难，改变我们所面对的一切的挑战。我们就把我们众弟兄姐妹的家庭、婚姻生活都交托，愿主您恩待，愿主您保守。我们如此仰望交托祷告，奉耶稣的名祈求，阿们。这时，让我们以这首诗歌《活出爱》来回应上帝的话。我们就由明海执事来带领我们唱诗的时间。今天是双亲主日，我们也有一个特别的献诗，由林炳国弟兄、林炳瑞弟兄还有林炳炎弟兄3位的兄弟，在这个时候来献诗。这首诗歌《爱我们的家》送给大家，也成为大家的祝福。
弟兄姐妹们平安。上帝赐给我们父母，让我们学习如何孝敬他们。哥罗西书3章20节也说到，你们做儿女的，要凡事听从父母，因为这在主里是可喜悦的。愿上帝的话鼓励我们，以爱来孝敬父母，因此而建立一个充满爱的家。祝大家双亲节快乐。
每个人爱他，家就有光彩；每个人付出，家就不孤独；每个人珍惜，家就有天地；每个人关注，家就有幸福。让爱天天住你家，让爱天天住我家。不分日夜秋冬春夏，全心全意爱我们的 家就有幸福。让爱天天住你家，让爱天天住我家，不分日夜秋冬春夏，全心全意爱我们的家。不分日夜秋冬春夏，全心全意爱我们的